And this is Spanglish Cooking. So when I go to someone's house, they invite me over for dinner, I like to make a host gift. So I'm going to show you today how to make my clay flower wine stopper. They're really pretty. I bring a bottle of wine with them, and I think that's why I'm always invited to people's houses for dinner. So they're really simple to make. I also make my own clay because I do a lot of clay work, and I'll show you the recipe. I'll post that also on my Facebook page. So what you want to do is you can get clay that dries in the oven, or you can get clay that dries overnight in the air. So the clay that I make is actually made with cornstarch and Elmer's glue, and it dries with the air. I don't have to put it in the oven and heat it up. So what I want to do to start my rose is get a really small piece of clay like this. I just like to start it out in a little ball, and then I flatten it out in the palm of my hands, just like that. Now, I like to start off with a toothpick because this will help me even when I'm painting the rose. I won't get my hands painted because it dries onto the toothpick. So I just put it right in the center, just like that. And then I just roll it. And that becomes the center of my rose. All right. And my awesome husband made me this little cardboard stand where I could actually put my rose there while I work on the other petals. Then for the next one, I just take a piece that's a little bit bigger, and then I use the palm of my hands to flatten it out and make it really thin. What I like about doing this too is that the print of my hand gets on the petal and it actually looks like a real rose petal. So then what you're going to do is just take it and form it around, and you just go right around it, and then you could form it a little bit. And I have to be honest with you, I'm going to do a much better job if I put my glasses on. Okay, now I can see what I'm doing. So there is the start of my rose. Then what you want to do is each petal gets a little bit wider, just a little bit bigger. So I'm going to use a little bit more. Flatten it in the palm of my hand. And I like to make my petals pretty thin and pretty organic looking. So exactly how they come out, if they don't look perfect, that's how I do it. And I actually feel like that's what a real rose petal looks like. Then what I'm going to do is overlap again. Just like that. And then I like to curl the ends. And I also like to leave a little bit of space in between each petal. It'll be a lot easier to paint because then you can get it in the crevices. And what you want to also do is pinch the bottom, pinch it so that it sticks together. All right. And then I'm just going to keep going all around, just like that, making each petal a little bit bigger than the last, and squishing it in the palm of my hands. And a really good trick to keep your clay nice and moist and fresh is by putting a little bit of baby oil in the clay and then sealing it in an airtight container like a Ziploc bag. All right, so this is my next petal. I'm going to overlap the last one and bring it in just like that. And you see it's starting to take form. So I'm just going to keep going all the way around. Each petal will be a little bit bigger than the last. Okay, my rose is completely finished. I'm so happy with it. What you can also do when you're finished, if you need to separate the leaves a little bit and curl them, you can take another toothpick and just kind of wedge it in between each petal to separate it. All right, my rose is done. I'm going to put it in my little stand and let it dry for at least a few hours, but I really like to let them dry overnight But for shooting purposes, we're just gonna let them dry for about 3 hours. My rose is completely dry. It took a good 3.5 hours. And now it's ready to paint. So I always like to use a glossy paint. You could use a glass paint or ceramic paint. You can get that at any craft store. It's pretty inexpensive. And once again, I'm gonna have to put my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. And you're just gonna take a regular craft paintbrush, artist brush, and just paint it. Any color you want. As you can see, I did one in white. And then this pink one, I kind of went a little bit with a darker pink and then a lighter pink. But I always like to do them in a glossy finish. I think it just looks prettier. The next time you go to a dinner party, I'm telling you, you bring this to the host, then everyone who's there is gonna want one, and they'll be inviting you to their house for dinner. That's why my social calendar is super full. I'm gonna take my glue gun because what craft is a craft without a glue gun? None, I'll tell you that. I use a glue gun all the time. I'm gonna put a nice glop of glue right there and then just stick it on there. It's a sure guarantee that you'll be invited to dinner again and again. Thanks for watching Spanglish Cooking.